Thank you.
We're ready to take questions. If you want to direct them to any of the states, just let us know. Questions? Well, how about if we start on this side of the room and go over? Any questions?
Are you seeing any connections between the hotels operating on the southern border that have been designated as transnational criminal organizations and the smuggling organizations in New York and Vermont? And then the second question for you, Attorney General, a judge ruled recently that the president's deployment of the National Guard in LA was illegal. Excuse me, does that ruling affect your plans to send resources to Chicago at all?
First, to the National Guard, we will be following the law. We are appealing that ruling, and we plan on being successful in court. We anticipate very much being successful. Back to this, yes, these transnational criminal organizations, since we have secured completely our southern border, are finding various ways to come into our country. And as our U.S. Attorney in Vermont knows, the northern border, it always has been, but it's gotten much worse. Much more prevalent because it's a multi-billion-dollar business, the smuggling of drugs, guns, and humans. And so they're not going to quit once we secured our southern border. But yes, we're stopping them at our northern border, and that's why we're also increasing Joint Task Force Alpha to include our maritime ports as well. Any other questions?
First for you, or I'm not sure who did the Tampa part of it first, but when it comes to Tampa, do you have any ideas why they set up shop here in Tampa? And then the other question about Tampa would just be, how much of this is going on right now? This seems like a pretty deep thing that was happening here. Can you just start throwing darts at a map and find these kinds of groups?
Can I start in on that first? Because I know you're a Tampa reporter, and that's why I think it was so important to have it here, because people are expecting this in Texas and big cities, and Tampa is a big city, but it is everywhere. It touches, I think, every city in our country. And traveling around this country, it's everywhere. It's everywhere you go, because our borders were wide open, and guns, drugs, gangs were coming in, terrorist organizations, into every city in our country. We arrested very recently, 20 minutes outside of our nation's capital, one of the top MS-13 members in the entire country. One of them was arrested also in Portland, Oregon. So it's very organized. They are spread throughout this country. And U.S. Attorney Kehoe, I'll let you take it from Tampa.
With regard to Tampa, I mean, this has been going on for a significant period of time. Our investigation takes us back to at least 2021. And these people aren't some individuals or from far-off areas. They're from neighborhoods right here in Tampa, from addresses that you know, that you could pass in Publix or walk on the street. Why did they set up here? Because they were started up in 2021, operated undetected, and let's be perfectly honest, as General Bondi said, $18 million in an entity that was moving in a tremendous speed, but in a relatively short period of time. $7 million going through Zelle alone. So why did they come here? Because they lived here, they were here, they set up and did business here, and it was profitable.
Of different services, schools and parks? I mean, were they living otherwise ordinary lives?
I from all intents and purposes, I can't answer that question factually, and I don't want to mislead you, but I don't have any information to say that they weren't. I can't say that they were sending their children to local schools, but they were certainly living here and doing business here.
Attorney General, if I can just ask you, now that you're seeing this from the inside, you obviously spent time in state government, with law enforcement. Now that you're seeing it from the federal level, how would you characterize what you've become aware of in terms of how much this is going on around the country? I mean, it seems like these cases are just a few of what you could highlight.
And these were not coordinated arrests or extraditions. These are four that all happened in a week. And because the majority involved unaccompanied children in human smuggling, we wanted to highlight those and why we're expanding our task force. It's shocking, being in the state of Florida, being a state prosecutor, but now on a national level and an international level, seeing the amount of human smuggling that goes on in child exploitation and the amount of drugs that freely flowed into our country for 4 years has truly been horrific, and we are doing everything in our power to stop it. And we're also meeting with our partners around the world to work hand in hand with them as well.
Can you characterize how many more cases are happening in Tampa, Hillsborough County, Florida?
So just since January 20th, we have charged, in Tampa, you're specifically Tampa, but Joint Task Force Alpha has charged 55 defendants just recently. Since January, 55 have been charged. And these are all, no, from all over the country. Major cases, but I'll let U.S. Attorney Kehoe answer Tampa. It's everywhere.
Yes, I mean, to take what the general says, this is everywhere. This is just not a part-time thing. Why? Because it's a profitable thing. You know, other cases under investigation here in Tampa. Yes. Numerous cases, yes. I can't get into the details of those, but this is not the last case of this fashion that we're going to do. Border Patrol and HSI are out there day after day, week after week, conducting investigations. So will there be more such cases being indicted along the way? Their answer is yes. I don't want to speak for my colleagues, but I assume that they would echo my response in that regard.
Take one more. Go ahead.
Good afternoon to you all. So for the cartels that are successful in smuggling children over, what are they doing with them once they're successful in that?
The children?
Yeah.
They're either being trafficked. We've seen multiple cases of children being trafficked who have come across our borders, come into our country, and they're being put on planes by themselves. When I was at the border in September, I went to the border in September in Yuma, Arizona, and they had a term, and it was called a recycled child. And these Border Patrol agents were seeing a little boy coming across our border multiple times. They saw him coming in as part of a family unit, which is often how they use children to get horrible criminals into our country, posing as a family unit. But these kids are coming from all over the place, and we don't know many of them where their parents were. That's why we're struggling to find that out, to prosecute all of them. But it was a recycled child, and these very vigilant Border Patrol agents recognized a little boy coming across. This was last September, and they couldn't figure out how he was going back and forth so easily. Well, our borders were wide open. And if you dropped your IDs, I saw IDs that were just piled up from every country you can imagine. If you dropped your passport, if you dropped your ID, they had a military member from China, dropped his ID. You could walk right into this country and say you were from anywhere you wanted to. And that's what we have stopped, and that's what we're going to prosecute. So they're using these children, many of them, to exploit them to help other gangs, cartels throughout this country. Some of these cases, when we're arresting these cartel members, they have children with them who are not related to them in their homes. Thank you. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for taking such close attention and realization to what's happening throughout our country affecting children. Have a great day.